So we just got off a call with one of my clients, and we were discussing the importance and the integrity of frame in a relationship, how attraction and a relationship, the longevity of the relationship, are two different things. So you have the first sector, right? You have seduction, you have attraction, you have creating the feeling of being attracted to somebody fundamentally. We get the point here, Joseph. But the secondary phase, a lot of men will rest on their laurels and they don't recognize that there is an active component on your behalf to keep an individual, a partner, still engaged with you, still entertained with you. And it all starts with who is holding the frame. So he shared with me a little context that was challenging his frame. He's at church and his wife is getting in an altercation with somebody at church, of all places, right? Somebody that they'd have some previous beef with in the past, some particular business difficulties with, and he's remaining calm and stoic, but she is going up to this individual, getting in his face and calling him all kinds of names and every kind of like pejorative. And he is getting so frustrated because he's been practicing this kind of stoic and very masculine and unreactive front, whereby his wife is going up and doing the antithesis of this, is getting very reactive. She feels like she's leading in this particular scenario when in fact she's in her reactivity, she's in her feminine, she doesn't have control of the context, and he knows that, and she is just digging his grave deeper and deeper and deeper. And she fundamentally knows what she's doing. Don't mistake this, gentlemen. Your partner, if you have a good partner, they are going to routinely challenge your leadership. And this is actually a very, very good sign. You actually don't want a woman who's not going to challenge you, because if there's no element of her testing your authority, testing your leadership, testing your direction, then she perceives herself as inferior to you. And if that is the case, you will no longer feel an attraction to her. Trust me, you as a man, as much as, it is important that we have peace in our relationship and we come home to a fairly comfortable house, you want routinely to have somebody you can contend with, somebody that is going to push you to new heights, to better heights. You want somebody that is going to keep you on your toes in that respect. The last thing you want is somebody who feels inferior to you and is not going to challenge your role as being a leader, not just in the relationship, but in the family, because that's the only way you grow to new heights. So how do we keep frame in this context? Well, some of the words, I know in theory it's easier said than done, but you're going to have to do this far better than any other kind of man, especially the other men that she's been with. She's only with you because you are being a leader, you're being unreactive, and you're being stoic. So you need to lead from this front, whereas whenever she tests you, SHIT tests you, I'm trying not to swear because they demonetize for everything nowadays, you are going to have to pass those tests very, very easily. And one of the ways that they are going to challenge you is in putting you in a position where you can be vulnerable and when you can be, your reactivity is going to be tested. Now, one of the brilliant ways that you can start to recourse from this is by the kind of language you use with your partner. It is so, so important. I have this tremendous book here. The book is called Nonviolent Communication by Marshall B. Rosenberg. Show it up here. And this is a fantastic resource, not just for relationships, but any social relationship, because many men, especially who are in the feminine, who are in the effeminate, are not direct and not specific enough when they experience behavior they do not like. So here is the formula for doing it. When you do X behavior, it makes me feel Y emotion. I need you to do Z behavior, right? Very, very, very clear, very specific, but nobody uses this kind of formula. So let me give you an example. Let's use the client's example here. So when you call other people names, when you swear at people, when you are confrontational to other people, it makes me feel angry. And you have to use empathetic words, empathic words, feeling words, okay? Not think, feel. It makes me feel angry because they're not going to physically get in an altercation with you. They're going to get in a physical altercation with me. I need you to be calm, to be stoic, and follow my lead next time. Sounds simple. Rarely any man does it. Why? Because it's direct. And because it's direct, men are afraid of being rejected, of them not having their needs met. Most people are so afraid to be clear about what they want, because if somebody says no, then it's clear to them they're not getting what they want. But here's the thing, here's the addition I always add, and I told my client that always make things work, is after you say that, you say, am I being unreasonable? Psychologically, it's far easier to say no than it is to say yes. So when you phrase it that way in the context of civility, am I being unreasonable? It's very easy to say, no, you're not being unreasonable, Joseph. It's harder to say, yes, you're being unreasonable, because it contrasts with what the context is, what you're framing the context in, which is civility. Am I being unreasonable? If you say I'm being unreasonable, you're kind of being childish. You're kind of being childish here. But no, we're mature here, we're adults. This is a reasonable arrangement that we're coming to. This is a powerful, powerful book. Most conflict with men, with relationships, starts because of miscommunication and people fluffing up what they want. Meaning, a lot of men will have problems, a lot of women will have problems, but typically the men. And because they're afraid of offending their significant other, they will placate to them. They will fluff up their requests. They will not be direct. They will not be assertive. Remember, if you're in a good relationship, she is going to challenge you, and you want your significant other to challenge you because it's going to push you forward. You don't want somebody that's going to be completely compliant. You want a little bit of pushback. She wants to feel your power. She wants to feel your masculinity. She wants to feel your frame and your boundaries. And she's going to be more attracted to you when you draw boundaries as opposed to when you're a pushover. By the way, when she's testing you, she may not be consciously aware of what she's doing, but subconsciously she is. She knows. She wants to feel that resistance. She wants to feel your leadership. She's doing this on a very primitive emotional level. She wants to be able to feel that pushback from you to let her know, I've picked a competent mate here. I've picked somebody who is leading the relationship, that is being strict, that is organized, that is being dominant, that is being powerful, that is being assertive. And she can only feel that if she challenges you. So you need to push back. You need to be direct. And the worst thing you can do is not check her, because she's going to continue then challenging you further. She's going to end up resenting you, and then she's going to end up leaving you from somebody else who is going to put her in her place. She wants to be put in her place. She will never tell you that. Guys, there is a huge difference between what women say and what they feel, right? Women can say they want a compliant man, but they will never feel attracted to a compliant man. They will feel attracted to a man who sets boundaries, and they can feel that leadership, that dominance. Thinking and feeling are two separate things. And women typically are not conscious of this. This is so important. This is why don't listen to women. I know that might sound wrong, and to any women listening, I mean this with the greatest respect, but you don't consciously know what's good for you. You feel what's good for you. Your subconscious feels what's good for you. And what feels good for you is having a little bit of those boundaries setting, to know your man has a wall that you can't push up against. If there was no wall, it would be chaos. That's the very definition of masculinity, is having boundaries, is knowing when to say no. I like to say, if masculinity is the frame of the picture, again, because if there was no frame to the picture would have no, it would just be spilling out all over the place. Femininity is the picture, it holds the art, it's the chaos, it's the beauty. But you can't have either or without the frame. You need the frame to be there. And many men these days are just throwing away the frame. Hey, you do whatever, you're good. You need to have boundaries. You need to keep frame. And these aren't theories. These are cold, hard facts. If you haven't felt them already, you will feel them eventually. Speak soon.